G'day, IELTS Mike here. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about scanning. Scanning is an incredibly important skill for your reading test. If you haven't seen the previous video on skimming, I would recommend you watch that first. These two skills fit together, skimming and scanning, scanning and skimming. Usually we do our skim first and then our scan, but they can actually work both ways. In this video, I want to focus on scanning and how it can help you to save valuable time in your test and also make sure you get the right answer. So essentially, scanning involves finding information quickly. Most of us already use this skill in our everyday life, such as when we look up information in a dictionary or are looking at the start time of a movie. So you know, when you go to the cinema, you want to know what time your movie starts. So first of all, you look up and you look and see, you find the name of the movie, and then you look across and start looking at the times of the movie. So that's scanning. Okay, and we can use this skill in IELTS to find the answer to a question. Okay. To do this, we look at the question, note key words in the question, then we start scanning the text strategically to find answers. Now, I mentioned skimming at the start of this video. We can also use the information we get from skimming an article to narrow down where we should start looking, right? To know roughly where in an article we would find the expected information. Okay. And so we do not have to scan an entire article usually. Usually we've got some idea where to start looking. Okay, remember you've only got 1 minute per question, roughly. So you want to be able to be fast and efficient at this. And also, since answers usually occur sequentially, the question order also helps us to decide where to start looking. Let's see some of the things that are easiest to scan for. First of all, symbols such as dollar signs and percentages. Numbers are easy to find. Years, dates. Here we've got a weight, and here we've got 5 and a million. 5 million. So numbers usually stand out in text. Things that are less common, there's lots of letters in texts. So numbers tend to stand out and symbols tend to stand out. Then, and these are sort of in declining order, capital letters sometimes stand out. Things like the names of people, places, cities, countries, companies. Let's take a look at an article, and that'll sort of help you to understand what I mean. Let's have a look at what sort of things stand out on this article. So first of all, here's our symbol, percentage. Note that these percentages stand out. That's because they're different than letters. So things that are different to letters are going to stand out. Symbols, numbers, standing out. Here's the capital letters. They kind of stand out as well. So these things are easier to find. And so when we come to scan, it's going to be easier to scan for things like percentages, numbers, and proper nouns or nouns, words with capital letters, than it is for just everyday words. Long words sometimes stand out as well. They're easy to find. Environmentalists easy to find in an article. Okay, so that gives you an idea of, well, you want that in the back of your mind when you're choosing what keywords you're going to scan for. Our basic approach to the test involves two main steps. The first of these, we want to skim the article. We want to spend about 3 to 5 minutes doing this to understand what the whole article is about and also where information is located or how the article is structured. After this, we want to move on to our questions, and we want to start to scan for answers. We're going to have about 1 minute to answer each question. So we have to work on this skill and be effective at it. All right, now let's look at how to scan and how to scan effectively. And this involves 4 main steps. First, you're going to read a question and choose keywords to scan for. So remember, it's often a good idea to choose things like numbers or proper names or symbols if possible. But the essential thing is you want to choose keywords, possibly underline them as well on the question paper. Then don't forget about the skimming you did. The skimming will help you to know where you can start looking for the information in the text. Then you want to look in the article and locate the keyword that you've identified. And also be wary that the text may include a synonym of that keyword. So while you're looking for that keyword, make sure you're also thinking about synonyms. And then once you find that keyword, you need to read around the surrounding text carefully to see if the answer is located here or there in that spot. Then finally, check your answer fits this question. This is an important step, of course, because we don't want to write down information that's not correct. Okay, so always think about that. Always think and check that you've found the right answer for the question. All right, let's move on now and see an example of how to do this. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to scan 4 questions, and I'm going to show you 2 different scanning techniques. Now, first of all, I have already done a skim of the article, and I know that these first 2 questions are in the first paragraph, and that's because the first paragraph is about destruction. We've got this word destroyed here and extinct here. So I'm going to start my scan in the first paragraph. Now let's take question 1. I have identified here that the best thing to search for is going to be 100. Okay, so if we look through this sentence, the 100 is going to be the easiest thing to find in our article. So we're going to have a look at the article, we're going to scan for the word 100, and then we're going to try and solve our multi-choice question. We're going to try and see which of these is the correct answer. So let's have a look at the article now. Okay, so here's the first paragraph of the article. As I said, I did the skim. I know it's about destroyed. Now let's see if we can find the word 100. Bang, there it is. And also we've got hectares. So we know that we've found the right place. There'll always be one clearly identifiable area of an article where the answer is. So the answer should be in here. Okay, so we'll just highlight that, 100 hectares. And then we look at the rest of the question. How long does it take for 1 hectare of rainforest to be destroyed? Okay, and we've got the 100 hectares here. We just got to look either side to find the answer, and here it is here, every hour. So in that case, about an hour is the best answer. There isn't a better answer. These other answers are way off. So about an hour is a good enough match for every hour. Right? Sometimes there'll be some slight differences, especially in multiple choice questions. Now on to question 2. How many species of salmon have become extinct in British Columbia? Extinct means die out. Like a whole species to die out. And then I've worked out that British Columbia is going to be the easiest thing to find in the paragraph. That's going to be easier to find than, say, salmon, because it's not capitalized. See how we've got these nice capital letters here. We've got this British Columbia. So we're going to look now at the article for British Columbia. And bang, there it is. Magic. Okay, now then we've got to find out about the salmon. So let's see what we've got here. If we look back, we don't see anything. Well, we see extinct, so we get excited, but there's nothing about salmon. So we read on, and then we find 142 species of salmon have already become extinct. Okay, this looks like our answer. Is there an answer for this? Yes, there is, down here. Let's just be sure that there's nothing else. This is the only place mentioning salmon. As I said it earlier, there'll always be one clear location for the answers to multi-choice questions. So clearly it's here. The answer is 142. Now you'll notice with the first two questions that I have scanned for words in the question stem. Okay, we had 100 here in British Columbia here. Now with the next two I'm going to use a different technique. I haven't found anything particularly useful except for Canada, but this word occurs throughout the article. The whole article is discussing Canada, so that's going to be extremely difficult to search for Canada. So what I'm going to do instead is to search for the percentages. So I'm going to go for the symbols. Okay, I'm going to look for percentage signs, and then I'm going to see which one of these numbers I can find and then relate it back to the question stem. So let's have a look at our article now, and let's see if we can find a percentage sign and then the number. Okay, so we have to go on to our next paragraph. This is talking about making pulp and paper. So this is going to have our answer in it. Okay, there's one. Bang. Oh, there's another one. So we've got two here. So that presents a slight problem. We've got two different percentages. So it can't be both because there's no option for both. So what we've got to do now is make sure we get the correct number for the question. How much of the world's newsprint paper is supplied to Canada? So newsprint paper is important. And if you have a look, Canada supplies 34% of the world's wood pulp. Well, that's not the same as newsprint paper. So we read on, and 49% of its newsprint paper. Okay, now we've found the newsprint paper, so our answer is 49%. This is the correct answer. Okay, let's look at our next question now then. Okay, so we've got the question, when was hemp production banned in Canada? Nothing particularly useful in here to search for. So what I'm going to do instead is look, these are all years. We got when and we're searching for a year. So I'm going to look, it's going to be, these years are going to stand out. So I'm going to scan based on years and try and figure out which one of these years relates to production of hemp being banned in Canada. So let's have a look at our article now. Okay, so I know from my skim that the answer is going to be in this paragraph, and that's because of this word legalization, which is similar to banned. So this has got to do with the law, and this has got to do with the law. Now I'm going to look for my years in here, and we can find 2 years. So we can highlight both of these. Well, one of them is not even here, so we know that that's not an answer. This one's here. We just need to make sure now. Let's just make sure that this is the answer, just in case it's talking about the issue in another paragraph. It can happen, but usually there'll only be one place. Okay, so it says, for the first time since growing hemp became illegal in 1938. Okay, and that's the same as banned. Okay, that matches this word banned here. So if something's banned, it's illegal in 1938. So that means we can confidently choose this as our answer. Okay, so that just gives you a bit of an idea of how you can use the scanning technique in your IELTS test. So now then you've learnt about the skimming skills in the previous video and how that can help you to understand what an article is about and also how it's structured. And now we've got our scanning skills, which allow us to look at our questions and quickly get answers to them and quickly get the correct answers to them. So it's important, right, to get the right answer. So all right, now you've learnt these two skills, and the next step in the process is to practice these skills. Just do some IELTS listening practice tests and use these skills to find answers. Okay, use the skimming and scanning. Normally you're going to start with the skimming first. You're going to skim an article, then you're going to come to the questions and start looking at the questions and start trying to solve them. Okay, If you want to try different techniques, you can always do a skim of the questions first, just so you know roughly what the questions are asking about, and then you can go and skim your article. And while you're skimming the article, you may notice some of the answers popping out. So I mean, that's another technique. You can try that if you want. A lot of people have success with that technique. For me personally, for the average candidate, I think it's best to just go to your article first, skim that, then come down to your questions. But a lot of students have told me they have success with skimming the questions first, so try it if you want to. Alright, so I hope you found this video useful. Make sure you've watched the skimming video if you haven't done that already. And then, as I said, you want to start doing some practice tests and using these techniques and skills so that you can get better at them. So when you take your real test, you're going to be successful. All right, good luck with your studies, and especially good luck when you take your real test. Thanks for watching my video. You might now like to go on to the next video, which is about skimming.